Hello friends, this is Durga from ITversity. So let me set up the WebEx session, then we'll get started. So this is the bi-weekly workshop for students, and last session I could not conduct because of personal reasons, and we will continue today wherever we stop. So as I do regularly, first I will try to introduce the ITversity platform very briefly within 5 minutes, and then I will take to the next. I will take the plan which I will be covering, or which you need to cover in next 2 weeks. So that being said, as you guys are aware, I run a channel called ITversity in YouTube, where there will be a bunch of videos for the content, where I'll be explaining concepts, covering several topics, and all the videos will be in the form of playlists. Playlist is nothing but a order of videos which you can follow and you can learn something over time. And then I have a website called itversity.com. I hope people on WebEx can hear me. If you cannot, please let me know. Let me confirm. And also let me click the YouTube also to make sure that they can hear me. Those who are on WebEx, can you guys hear me? And I hope you guys can see my screen also. And let me confirm. On the WebEx as well. Sorry, on the YouTube as well. Yeah, YouTube, they should be able to hear me and also see my screen. So that being said, after the YouTube channel, the next important component is itversity.com, which is just a website where I'll be writing many blogs, especially in the form of courses. If you click on this link called courses, you will see bunch of courses. So far I do not emphasize a lot on this, but from last week onwards I have started recreating the content on the YouTube channel, sorry, on the website. So earlier I used to have a course called CCS Spark and Hadoop Developer. I deleted it and I started creating a new course as per the revised syllabus. Okay, so you will see courses like this as part of my channel, and these courses will be used to explain further. So in future, whatever video content I'll be creating, I will try to create blogs on my website. Okay, and YouTube is for videos, and website is for the content. When you try to learn, you will obviously get some questions, especially you might get into some issues and you want someone to look at it and resolve the issues. For that purpose, I have started another website called discuss.itversity.com, where you can log your questions. Okay. On top of these things, if you want to pursue your career on big data side, having environment is not so cheap. It is expensive. It is time consuming to set up the components, and also it requires pretty powerful laptop. You need to have at least 16 GB RAM, and i7 quad core, probably SSD, to be more productive. To address those issues, what I have done is I have developed a platform called labs.itversity.com, which is nothing but online multi-node cluster. So you don't need to worry about setting up Hadoop cluster or not having Hadoop cluster with you. You just go to this, sign up for one of these plans, and you are good to go. You can start practicing on the lab directly. And I have a special plan for students. It is $74.95 for up to 2 years. So if you are in the first semester, you will get access for 2 years. If you are in the third semester, you will get access for 1 year, up to 1 year. So depending upon I will give access to this lab for $74.95 up to 2 years. Okay. So these four are the platforms which will give you holistic support, starting from learning by seeing video content, supporting online, providing material for reference, and finally an environment to practice. Okay, so now I will actually go to the biweekly topic here. So for that, you can go to discuss.itversity.com, and there is a category called Big Data Engineer for students. Okay, and already I have covered 5 of the plans. So the idea is, over a period of 1 year or 2 years, depending upon the amount of time you have at your hand, you can plan and you can prepare to be a big data to get all the skills required for big data engineer by the time you come out of college. So I know your challenges, and I tend to um, uh, create. I tend to give you content not more than 4 to 5 hours every 2 weeks, and on top of that, you need to spend another 3 to 4 hours to practice. So overall, it should not be more than 4 to 5 hours every week to make it sustainable, so that you spend those 4 to 5 hours every week over a period of 2 years, which means that you will be spending approximately 400 hours, and you will definitely gain something in the 2 years time frame. Okay, so far I have created 5 plans, and today is the 6th plan. We started with setting up environment and developer tools, and then we focused on understanding FBT and simple Scala constructs. Then we talk about Scala collections and external dependencies. Then we talk about understanding HDFS, um, where we talk. Sorry, the 4th plan is actually getting started with Spark, develop a word count program, and understand Spark execution lifecycle. And the 5th plan is understanding HDFS, because at times we need to get the files from HDFS and process. HDFS stands for Hadoop Distributed File System. And the latest one is computing daily revenue. So as part of this coming 2 weeks, you need to understand important core APIs. Um, uh, Again, some of those APIs are already covered as part of the word count. Now we will take a realistic example. In this case, we will try to compute daily revenue um, out of some e-commerce platform data, or e-commerce retail companies data. Okay, let me change the title a little bit. Okay, so I have covered the data model. I have covered how to read files from the tables, or from the sorry, how to read the data from files, and then apply filter and map function to clean the data, to discard some unimportant data, and then apply transformations on each of the record. And then I have covered join operations, and then I have covered aggregations such as reduce by key versus, so reduce by key, aggregate by key, etc. As part of this next 2 weeks, focus on reduce by key. We will see other two, such as aggregate by key and group by key, as part of the next bi-weekly plan. So the videos which you need to watch are in this playlist, videos 8 and 9. For better access of these videos, you just expand this sandwich icon, and click on this. It will take you to the playlist, and here you can go to 8th and 9th videos. 8th video is 2 hours, and 9th video is also 2 hours. Okay, and you might have to revise few things. So the content is approximately 4 hours, but it will take more time for you to practice. Okay, deliberately I did not include the aggregate by key and group by key, because um, these two are related, and if I add those two, it will take a lot more time for you. Okay, so focus on the 8th and 9th videos for the coming 2 weeks. And for the reference material, go to Spark Programming Guide. 1.6.2 or 1.6.3, 6.3 doesn't matter. So if you go here, so we are primarily focusing on these two areas, transformations and actions. So if you have time beyond uh, if it does not take very long time to develop the daily revenue program, I will highly recommend you to cover as many transformations and actions as possible. Some of them I might not have covered as part of the course. You should get proficient with these things, and also spend time in learning more and more about Scala as a programming language, or Python as a programming language, because those are the things which constitute of um line share of uh, building the skills to be a data engineer. Programming is imperative, and you should focus on programming, and you have to get better at either Scala or Python or both. As part of this plan, I am primarily focusing on Scala, but you can use Python also. If you're already familiar with Python, go with Python and just build the skills using Python as well. So that being said, if you have any questions, I will take those things. And one news is, if you are in the third semester, fourth semester, and if you're practicing or if you're preparing for CCS, Spark, and Hadoop developer, there is a change in the syllabus around a couple of months back. And starting from, I guess, April 28th or April 29th, people started acknowledging that they are getting questions as per the new curriculum. So if I go to CCA, Spark, and Hadoop developer curriculum, so this is the new revised syllabus. There's a lot of emphasis on Scala and Spark, or Spark with Scala or Python as programming languages. So now people started getting uh, getting the exam as per the new syllabus or revised syllabus, and I am working on the course which will cover this as much detail as possible. Okay, and if you want to follow about the changes in the certifications, we have a category called certifications in this, and people started uh, talking about what is happening with respect to certifications. Okay, so that being said, I am open for the questions. You can ask any question. We have ample time, and I will try to answer those questions. Otherwise, we will wrap up for the day. Any questions on the WebEx session or in YouTube? Okay, the playlist is in progress. No, there won't be playlist for this, because I'm trying to create a series of videos which will cover many things, and it will be tough to use as a playlist. For that reason, I'm actually creating the courses. Okay, you can go to the courses, and here right now I'm working on CCS, Spark, and Hadoop developer. Okay, so this is the curriculum which will be covered, and right now I'm working on learn Scala, where I'm explaining Scala in detail, and then I will go to HDFS commands, and then course Spark. I have to create the content. Once the Scala is done, I will talk about other topics. Probably next 3 to 4 weeks, you will get the entire content. You just have to follow this playlist to this course for CCS, Spark, and Hadoop developer. Okay. There is a playlist which I'm creating, but it's a lot more generic, and the order might be out of sequence. Yes, everything will be as part of the courses as per new curriculum. Okay, there's one question from Anand Sish. I don't know his name, but anyway, his ID is Anand Sish 12. How does Spark internals works in respect of MapReduce and Shuffle in worker nodes compared to Hadoop MapReduce? Okay, so it is a very broad question. You have to go through these videos and you will get the answer. Okay, the major difference between MapReduce and Spark engine. MapReduce is one engine and Spark is another engine. The major difference, when I say MapReduce, I'm talking about Hadoop MapReduce. MapReduce as a concept is common across all the technologies. You have MapReduce implementation in MongoDB as well. But there are two major engines for MapReduce. One is Hadoop MapReduce and the other one is Spark. So the major difference between the two is Hadoop MapReduce uses a lot of I/O. Okay, there is a concept called intermediate files. Once the data is processed as part of the map, the output will be stored as part of the intermediate files before it actually shuffle and sort the data and pass it on to the reducer, and then reducer will read the data and do the further processing. Whereas when it comes to Spark, most of this will be in memory. There won't be intermediate files to pass the data from one stage to another stage. Because it is in memory, the performance is much faster. Okay, so someone is complaining the screen is blurred. So what you have to do is you have to click on this icon and change the quality. Then it should be okay. Okay. So Ayaz, the playlist was only temporary. I think if you read the title, I have mentioned that. Okay, February 2017 is different. It was a course which I have taken earlier. Okay. Anyway, just follow the courses and you will see the content. Don't worry about the videos, but it will take time to create the complete content. I don't know about which playlist you are talking about. If you are talking about CCS Spark and Hadoop Developer course, you have to go to my website www.itversity.com. Go to courses, and you will see all the courses here. If you are interested in CCS Spark and Hadoop Developer, this is the one which you need to follow. Okay. And there are a couple of questions on WebEx. So do you have any videos related to MLib algorithms? No, I haven't created any content related to machine learning yet. It will take a lot of time. For now, my primary focus is certifications, and then I will get into the machine learning, etc. Eclipse or IntelliJ IDE for Spark, which one to choose? So if you are new to this, I will recommend to go with IntelliJ IDE. It will save a lot of your time. If you are already familiar with Eclipse and if you want to use Eclipse, you can use Eclipse also. But IntelliJ is a little bit straightforward. So I do not understand your question. I have some data sets in my in the lab. You can directly access those things. So KCCH2K is asking, can we configure Kafka to get Twitter data in our cluster? Yes, you can. but be careful with your Twitter credentials, because anyone can, because you have to um, uh, pass the access key and secret key, I guess, to access Twitter, to access data using Twitter API. So you have to be extremely careful with that. Otherwise, you can do. It's not a big deal. Does the Spark lessons needs to be run on VM where we have Hadoop, or can we do it on local? You can do it on local, or you can use my lab, or you can do anywhere. You don't need to have virtual machine to practice Spark. Okay, you can just set up Spark by yourself, and if you go to the plans which I have covered, okay, you see setup environment and developer tools, and if you click on this, either you can set up Cloudera Quick Start VM and the Hotmode Sandbox if you need everything with respect to Spark. Otherwise, you can just start setting. You can just set up environment only with respect to Spark. And I think as part of these materials, I have covered how to set up Spark alone. Okay. If you could not find, just let me know. I will take care of it. You don't need to have Hadoop components just to practice Spark. But if you want to practice Spark SQL and data frames, especially if you want to run Spark SQL in Hive context, you need to have other components. And at that time, you need to have Hadoop and Hive, etc. And for that, either you have to use Cloudera Quick Start VM or Hotmode Sandbox or the lab which I have created. So it's up to you how you want to do. But to get the complete knowledge, you should use either Cloudera Quick Start VM or Hotmode Sandbox or my lab. Yeah, Ayaz, you can use your local environment. It's not a big deal. But I think I have mentioned to you so many times in the past, you need to have a 16 GB laptop, i7 quad core, and you have to have Cloudera Quick Start VM or Hotmode Sandbox, and you can set up data sets and all those things in that environment, and you can start practicing. So Anand says 12. If we have doubts, then how do we get it answered? There is a platform called discuss.itversity.com. You just go there and start writing questions over there, or every 2 weeks I will have this session. You can ask some of the questions here. So Krishnamurthy is asking, can we get options to install Hadoop cluster manually without any other tools? No, ITversity Lab is primarily for developers, and whatever I am talking about is only relevant for developers. Developers does not set up Hadoop cluster. They can only practice, or they can only develop on the existing cluster. Okay, next question, I will take it from WebEx. So Inba is saying, I'm not able to hear you. Okay. One minute, okay. Let me respond to this guy, and then I'll come back. So can you, Pawan is saying, can you make a detailed video explaining all single and paired RDD examples in detail? I have got into a lot of details when it comes to RDDs. That is more than enough. Whatever details I have covered earlier, is more than enough when it comes to RDDs. If you need any other information, if you can be more specific, I will try to cover those things. Yusuf is saying Spark streaming. Yes, there are some videos related to Spark streaming. Anyway, as I have mentioned to you, this is primarily for the students, a bi-weekly plan which is started just recently. So by the time they get onto the Spark streaming, it will take a lot more time. Okay, and Spark streaming has to be learned in tandem with Kafka, Flume, etc. And all those things are covered. And I will be creating plan for those things as we proceed further. Okay. If you are not a student, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can search on Spark streaming and you will get the information. I am looking for Spark streaming real-time project. Do you offer anything for this? I just have some content on Spark streaming simulating the real-time project. You can go through that content and see if it helps you. So KCCH2K is asking how can I get updates about the classes and WebEx links. You just fill this form. I will share the form. So this is the form which you need to fill. And then yeah, you will get this invitation for bi-weekly sessions. Okay. And then Pawan is asking, can you make videos on graphics? I don't have it on my wish list. It will take a lot of time when it comes to graphics. There is a reason why it will take time. So let me give you brief overview about the weightages which you should focus. Okay, because this is for students. If you are not a student, please take it offline and we will talk about those things later. Okay. Let me show you a small slide which will give weightage for each of the components. Okay, if you want to be a big data engineer, so these are the weightages. First, you need to focus on core programming, either Scala or Python or Java, preferably Scala or Python for data engineers, especially with respect to Spark. The weightage is 30%. And then Spark APIs is only 10%. Whatever I have mentioned as part of the Spark programming guide, transformations and actions, that is 10%. You should be proficient with SQL, which is 10%. And in Spark also, you need to understand something called data frames, Spark High SQL, etc. The overall weightage for that is 10%. Scoop 5%. Flume and Kafka, along with Spark streaming, is 15%. And then miscellaneous. So graphics, MLE, all those fall under this 10%. Okay. If you follow my course, all these things will be covered, which is 50 and 20, 70% will be covered. And 10% is miscellaneous. Take any of the other things, graphics, all those things will fall under that 10% category. And then you also should be proficient with the overhead as part of the development life cycle, like agile methodology or waterfall methodology, difference between the two. And then you need to understand how to use tools like SVN or Git to version your code. You need to understand how the code will be deployed in higher environments such as testing and production. You need to also support the bugs in the code. So you need to interact with QA and you need to understand the QA lifecycle. There are tools like Jira, Confluence for issue tracking and content management. So these are the other software engineering overhead tools which you need to understand, which constitute of 20%. So as a data engineer, you need to have idea about all these things. I will be primarily focusing on these areas. Okay, so graphics and all those things are not in my priority list, but as and when I get time, probably it might take a year before I get into machine learning or graphics. Okay, so I will be primarily focusing on the fundamental aspects of this, and then we will slowly get on to the higher level stuff. Okay, any other question? So Ishwar is saying, I'm joining for the first time. What is the starting point for me to get into the courses? So if you are a student, first you need to confirm whether you are a student, and then I will answer your question accordingly, Ishwar. Hello, Ishwar, are you a student or are you a experienced professional? Yeah, I can hear you. So if you are experienced professional, you can go to my YouTube channel, go to the playlists, and depending upon your interest area, you can start learning. And if you need a lot more specific information, you can send email to training@itversity.com, and we can discuss. So this session is primarily for big data engineer for active students. It is a bi-weekly session. Every alternative Monday we will have this session. The other Monday, Monday morning or Sunday night US time, we have a live event. There is no WebEx session for it. It's just a live event, and I will be talking about big data certification courses. Okay, last 2 times I could not have that session, but starting from next week I will have it again. Okay, so send me email to training@itversity.com, and I will share my contact number. We can discuss, and we can take it from there. So can you Ayaz is asking, can you please include a video series on Spark testing? Again, it is not in my priority list. As and when I get time, there are so many things which I'm planning to do. Already I have a lot of backlog. I'll not be able to do Scala test at this time. KCCH2K is asking, I could not find any video comparing different file formats related to ORC, RC, etc. It is a very specific question. Probably I might not be able to cover up to that level, but as I proceed with the latest with the course as per the revised curriculum. 1 minute. Revised curriculum of TCS Spark and Hadoop developer. Okay. So there is one separate section for different file formats in Spark. So as I proceed with this course, I will be creating content on this different file formats in Spark, where I'll be covering most of the important file formats such as Spark weight. I'm not sure whether I'll be covering WRC file. I will be covering WRC file, but I will not cover RC file. You can ignore that. Just proceed with ORC file and Parkway. If you are worried about an interview, if someone asks you about the difference between RC file and ORC file, just tell them that I worked only on ORC file, and I didn't care much about the difference, because I never need to work on RC file. You can answer that. Okay. So I will be covering Parkway, I will be covering ORC file, I will be covering compression, I will be covering JSON file, how to read and write into JSON files. All those things will be covered as part of this lesson, different file formats in Spark. Okay. So any other question here? So that being said, again, these workshops and live sessions are primarily for students, and it happens every 2 weeks. And if anyone want to be part of WebEx session, and if you want to get the reminder, just fill this form. Don't if you want, if you are joining for the first time, that is fine. But if you are an experienced professional, there is no necessity to join this session, because this is primarily for students who are going to the college and want to learn big data while pursuing their masters. And we will be creating such plans for different job profiles as well in future. If you like this video, please click on the like button. If you want to share with your friends, please click on the share and share with your friends. And if you want to provide the feedback, please use the comment section of the video after streaming is done. Okay. The comments in the live chat will not be preserved. So if you want to provide any feedback, please use the comment section of the video once the streaming is done. That being said, thank you very much, and see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.